I'm going to show you how to make custom stencils for etching and painting glass. You can do this on mirrors, drinking glasses, stained glass, ornaments, fish tanks, terrariums. The supply list is simple. Here it is. You can link to the products to buy them online in the information box below this video. So let's get to it. So glass painting is now a thing, as well as using glass etchants to make designs on glass. But when you go to the craft store or the art store and you buy stuff like this, you're going to end up with a glass that looks more like it's been the spray painted side of an army munitions crate. So let's talk about making your own stencils. What you're going to need is you're going to need an image source, such as, I love this website for Chick's Sake for doing really cute monograms. And then you're going to print out your image. After you print out your image, you're going to trace it onto something like Frisket, which is also known as clear masking. This stuff is great. It's plastic with glue on the back, backed with paper, so like contact paper. You peel it off and apply to glass. Problem is, you can't print it on a normal inkjet printer. Here's what happens. Ew. So instead, what you'll do is you'll print out on regular paper, and then tape the Frisket on top of the paper to allow you to trace. And once you're done, you'll get a really cute design. Don't be too worried about how it looks and if it's perfect or not. This is a template. You're going to trace it with a knife later. So you go through, put your ink on there, and then when you're done, stick it to your glass. Let's look at that. Oh, by the way, glass paint, if you bake it, like they say, lasts a long time. This is a little token from a certain card game that I play. And I've had this one for about 4 years after I baked it, and it's still holding up. So glass paint actually can work really well, as long as you paint on the outside of the glass so that food doesn't etch it and, you know, you eat nasty chemicals dissolved in the food acid. Anyway, back to glass stuff. Now that the stencil is finished and I've removed it from the paper, I'm going to have to cut it. I'm going to cut it not all the way to the edge, but leaving a little bit of room so that my paint or my etching agent does not go past the edge and leave a square line. So I'm going to cut this out, peel, and stick. Here's a note. The size will depend on how well it sticks to the glass. If I make this very big, the plastic will not lie on the round surface. I have to make it small enough so that it lies flat and the plastic can deform. Something larger than this design, such as what I showed you printed here, these designs will never lie flat on this particular glass. They're far too large. But a smaller design like this will. So let's take a look at that. So now I've got the cut film on the glass and I'm pressing it in the center where I want the middle to be. Then I go through and slowly work it towards the edge. The reason I'm not just pressing it flat with the side of a credit card like a squeegee is that will create bubbles. Like right here. Let's see if you can see that. See that little bubble that's being highlighted? That's caused by the deformation around the roundness of the glass. And so I just have to slowly work this on. Sometimes you have to undo the film and sort of stretch it on the surface of the glass. But it's going so far so good. So once I've got this all smoothed out and on the surface of the glass, I'll begin cutting. As a note, you don't have to cut deeply, you can just cut through the plastic layer. If you press hard and you cut into the glass, you might shatter your glass by scoring it and snapping it. No need for that. Cut lightly just on the surface of the plastic, it'll peel right away. I've cut this Frisket with this knife, and now I'm going to peel apart the way I want to have colors in it. So if I want to have the C be colorful and painted, I would peel away the C. If I want the background to be colorful and painted, I would peel away the background. So I'm going to go through and peel this all off and only leave the Frisket where I want to resist. Where I don't want my etchant or my paint to go, I leave the Frisket. Okay, let's cut to that. Now that the Frisket has been cut and removed, I'm going to take the soft plastic side of this Sharpie marker and just work down the edges, make sure they're flat, make sure there's nothing poofed up where my paint or my etchant can leak under the mask. The reason I'm not using my fingers is I don't want my finger oils on this getting in the way of etching or painting the glass. So I'm using the smooth, clean surface of this marker to do it. I'm not using metal or anything hard because that will scrape the glass and ruin the Frisket. Okay, so now let's apply our etchant. So here we have our etchant, Armor Etch. Armor Etch is hydrofluoric acid, but it's diluted with a salt, so it's not as bad. This is not the stuff you'd use in acid attacks, but it's still bad enough to really burn your skin if you leave it sitting there. What it does is the acid works with the glass and reacts to form another acid called hexafluorosilicic acid, and then you wash away the second acid. And when you wash away the hexafluorosilicic acid, it's going to leave behind this rough surface where the glass used to be when it got made into the acid. And so what I'm doing is I'm dabbing it on with a soft brush. You don't have to brush it on, you just have to dab it. It says on the back to do it for like 10 minutes or something. I usually leave it on for between 15 minutes and half an hour, depending on the ambient air temperature, since it's going to react better in heat. I will sometimes go in and re-dab it halfway through the reaction to get more of the acid in surface contact with the glass. I'm not using this kind of brush. This is a stencil brush. Many times when you use stencil brushes, they are heavy and thick, and you're supposed to dab on the paint in a thin layer. This will ruin this little mask. It'll peel off the mask and just wreck it. So we're not going to use a heavy, stiff brush. We're going to use a soft, gentle brush. Okay, let's come back to this in 20 minutes. I'm cleaning my brush while I let the etchant work, and I'm just using lots of water and rinsing very thoroughly. It's got to take a long time to interact with the glass, so that, you know, it's an acid, and but it's not so strong and aggressive acid that it's going to leak through the pipes and burn everything up. Just use lots of water to dilute it, and the same thing if you get it on your skin, lots of water to dilute it. Removing it, you've got to be careful not to etch the glass with the etchant you're trying to rinse away. Some people scratch off the extra etchant and scrape it off and put it back in the bottle. In this case, I'm just going to rinse it. So I'm going to remove the bulk of my frisket so there's nothing for the etchant to get stuck under. Then rinse. And this is a good time to use that stiff brush. I'm rinsing under cold water to reduce the chance that the etchant will react with the glass just by making everything colder and slower. So now I'm going to pull off and remove any of the leftover frisket. And it looks like it's clean, so I can probably do that out of the water. And we'll take a look at how this finished up. I'm going to put some more stickers on the glass because I want to have butterflies in with this design. So I'm cleaning the glass with isopropyl alcohol, and it doesn't matter what kind of alcohol, whether it's corn mash or isopropyl or whatever, it's just something to clean it. Ammonia will work too, like Windex. And I'm going to clean the surface really nicely so that there's nothing to get in the way of these stickers sticking. That is, by the way, how I clean this glass before I use the frisket. I just didn't put that in the start of the video because the best way to scare people off of a video is to talk about cleaning glass for the first minute. Alright, so I'm going to apply some more stickers and do some more etching. Here I have the butterfly stickers. Because this is a curved surface, you can see there's all sorts of deformations caused by the flat sticker trying to mold to the curved surface. To avoid these deformations filling with the etchant and creating little bubbles of etched glass, I'm holding it upside down. That way the drips go away from the bubbles and not into them. So let's see how this turns out. So here is the finished glass. It's going to be really pretty for parties. This is a gift for friends. You can see you've got the monogram. It's going to be really pretty. And then on the base, each of the glasses in the set has like a little charm to help you identify yours. This one's a butterfly. So I've got this nasty sticker on here, and I'm making it less nasty by going through and cutting out those stencil connectors. So instead of looking like, again, the Army ammo box, it has normal looking letters. Now I can't reuse it this way because I've cut out the connections, so I'd have to place this manually, but it's going to look a lot prettier than if we left in place all of the stencil connectors.